something about the little preview session we were having, but tell us a little bit about the book and why we chose it.
Yeah, so I think over the last year, I've been just dissecting book after book after book what we can use. And at one point, I wanted to go over probably 5 or 6 different books. And I know every summer over the last couple of years, I've challenged myself to read a really long novel or a really long book. One of those books was anybody that follows Jocko, anybody that knows, what he talks about. His favorite book is, I'm going to kind of pull him up to the screen here, is About Face. About Face is a 4-inch wide book. It's over 1,000 pages, but it just didn't really fit what we wanted to talk about. I even looked at another book that's even larger. It's Tim Ferriss's Tribe of Mentors, which is another really, really long book. As you can see, I'm just kind of showing everybody how big these things are. That one's not, it seems like a long book, but it's really not. It's got just snippets of interviews with different types of leaders, but I just couldn't really pull anything out of it, more than just one thing, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. I got a little bit, I guess, woo-woo with it. I even looked at Jordan Peterson, who we talked about last year a little bit, his book, Maps of Meaning, and then Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces. Those got really deep metaphysically, and I just didn't want to go down that route. I went back to Jocko again, looked at dichotomy leadership, but I know we already covered that. So what we wound up with, like you said, was the book Leaders by General Stanley McChrystal. I thought it was great. It reviews 13 different people. It does 12 subsections, and then it actually goes in and talks about one person, General Robert E. Lee. What I really liked about it is you get a really good array of different types of people. My favorite one was Coco Chanel. When I tell people that, they always kind of laugh, or they're really surprised by that. But I really liked her leadership style. It talks about Walt Disney. It talks about, like I said, Robert E. Lee, Martin Luther, and Martin Luther King, just to name a few. And then my favorite subsection, which we're trying to nail down right now, was the bad leaders, where he goes in and talks about Abu al-Zarqawi, who led ISIS, and then Maximilien Robespierre, who led the French Revolution. I thought this was a really good book, and we can take a lot from these different types of leaders and apply those to what we do every day as athletic trainers.
All right, so I know we're again just kind of doing a like an informal preview show, and so I see Scott Arsenault is joined in, watching a little bit live. Tanya Watson joined watching live. Again, if you guys have questions, comments, thoughts, leaders, maybe a leader that you want to shout out, you can throw that out there, and I'll do my best to see that and comment there as well. So, going back, actually, I just had a conversation with a friend of mine. He's a captain in the fire department here in Houston, and we were talking about leadership because he just went to a new station, and some of the guys are lazy as they just haven't had a leader, and so he's like, you know what, this is a good opportunity for me to learn how to lead. Whereas he could be like, oh, I signed myself up for failure. He's like, I need to learn how to lead. And I was like, hey, man, I really like Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and also follow that up really closely with the dichotomy, like we talked about, because extreme ownership kind of sets that extreme, like, hard line stance, and then dichotomy is like, but there are, there's wiggle room or there's gray area within that, and learn how to do those. And so I'm really glad that I went through that stuff last year, and then I was able to just share just that little bit with him just this weekend. So it was really cool. And we talked about the book again. I showed that there, Leaders, and I have an Amazon link if you want to help support the sports medicine broadcast through that way. But if not, no worries. Audible is really good, and it's a really cool book to listen to on Audible. So I think it's actually McChrystal reading it himself on Audible.
I believe so, yeah. And we even covered Stanley McChrystal's Team of Teams last year. So it doesn't mean that we're going to stray away from Jocko. There's a lot of undertones that we'll probably come back to the extreme ownership and things, I think our next show on Tuesday, what we're gonna, I'm sorry, on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the leadership traits that you and I both learned over the last couple years and really had to put into play within our practice, within our daily lives. I'm really excited to talk about that stuff.
All right, so we're gonna be talking with a couple of guests. You know, obviously you and I are gonna kind of start it off with the Cornerstone book, and then we're gonna have a couple of guests. So tell me about the guests you chose and why you chose them.
Yeah, so right now we have 3 guests that are scheduled, and then one more that we're in negotiations with their schedule as well. Everybody knows athletic trainers, we don't have the most flexible schedule, and when we do have a flexible schedule, we really can't ever do anything with it. So right now we're trying to lock down Hall of Famer Dr. Renee Shingles, who's the program director for Central Michigan University. We're going to talk about the concept of bad leaders. Doesn't mean that she's a bad leader at all. It's just something that I really want to talk about coming from my past. We had terrible, terrible leadership at an administrative level, and I learned a lot from that. And I have the thought process of if you have terrible leaders, you can definitely learn a lot from it. So Dr. Shingles is going to hopefully help out with that. The confirmed guest that we have, Dr. Kent Gaines, he is going to join us and veer a little bit from the book Leaders, and we're going to come back to Tim Ferriss's book, Tribe of Mentors. There's a couple pages in that book that talk about how to say no. And if anybody's listened to the ET Advantage podcast with Alicia, she talked to him about kind of self-preservation within our profession, and I really liked his message. I knew I needed to have him on, and we're going to learn to say no as a professional and as a person to help us. Kevin Parker, the current president of MATS, the Michigan Athletic Trainer Society, he's going to join us to discuss the idea of heroes. Now, if anybody knows who Kevin is or has seen his Gatorade video, it's an awesome video, and I know Kevin's modest, and he's probably not going to want to talk too much about it, but I really implore you guys to go look up that video, Kevin Parker by Gatorade. It's an amazing story that he happened to be a part of, and I think he's section from the book Leaders. And then lastly, we are going to be joined by NATA President Tori Lindley, as he's going to discuss the 3 myths of leadership that's brought to you in the book Leaders, and then how do we redefine leadership as we move forward in our profession. So we've got some really good guests lined up, and I think that's going to really help drive home what we're learning in this book Leaders and how we can apply those traits to our own day and to our own practice.
All right, so my wife just kind of jumped on watching live, and then also like I've been getting a good bit of comments recently, so on like Facebook through Messenger or whatever. So I think it was Justin Chasen was talking about how the podcast has been helping or helped him correctly diagnose a hand injury and properly treat that there. But my sister-in-law is she's not in the medical field at all. She cuts hair, but she listens to the podcast because it's me, right? Because it's something that she just wants to support me. And so Caitlin, I don't think she's even on Facebook, so she's not going to see this. But it's really cool to know that what we're doing here is reaching outside of just athletic training, because I get messages from other people, but then, you know, all across the country, we get to hear that as well. And so it's really fun to be a part of that with you. So this week in October, we got kind of a busy schedule because I'm going to be gone for a week because I'm going to be learning more about how to lead my foster family as, you know, we kind of grow with that. So I'll be in Colorado for a couple days at a retreat where they said you can't even get cell phone reception at all. So it's going to be pretty nice. And for me in Houston, you know, the 20 to 60 degree temperatures versus the 70 to 90 degree temperatures will be really nice. But I'm excited about the experience to learn to lead those kids and as well as change the way that I lead my family. So with that being said, a week being taken out of our possible October, what's the schedule going to be looking like for us, John?
Yeah, actually the nice thing is October is a 5-week month, so even though we're going to be missing a month, we still have 4 weeks in the month. So like I said, we have 6 shows right here planned for us. The first one is going to be this coming Wednesday, October 2nd at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 Central. I don't know what that's going to be in Hawaii time, but you guys can figure that out. The first episode, like we said, we're going to dissect the book Leaders, Myth, and Reality. Jeremy and I are going to talk about our favorite chapters in there, and then we're going to kind of set the groundwork for the rest of the month, how we're going to use this book to dissect those things. Like you said, we're going to take a week off from there, and then come back to us on October 14th, or the week of October 14th. Right now we have scheduled Dr. Kent Games on Friday, October 18th at 9:30 a.m. The following week, Kevin Parker is going to join us on October 23rd, and our last guest, Tori Lindley, will be on October 25th. Both of those shows are scheduled for 9:30 a.m., 8:30 Eastern, given that my computer works as it did it today.
So 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central.
That's right. So 6:30 Pacific. So all those early risers out there on the West Coast, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, right. So I'm not sure. You know, you see these like jokes or these memes about leaders and CEOs. They're all waking up at 2:30, 3:30, 4:30 in the morning or whatever. So, hey man, if you're gonna be a leader, you might as well wake up early, or just move to the East Coast and then you wake up later.
Or I can send you a text to wake you up.
There you go. All right. So we got any surprises? Any clowns popping out or anything this time, John?
No clowns, but we definitely have two surprises. I guess they're not going to be real big surprises since we're talking about them today, but two things that I have planned this month, this year, that are going to be a little bit different than last year. Like I said, this Wednesday we're going to pull some problems that have been posted on the secondary school's athletic trainer Facebook page. I'm not going to go and be very specific with them, but there are a lot of general things that keep popping up that we can apply some of these leadership topics and tactics to those topics to help us be better professionals and better practitioners within our profession and within our settings. If anybody else has any specific questions, they are absolutely more than welcome to email me. My email is jciecko@bloomfield.org, or if you want to drop me a question on Twitter at JOHNCIECKO. We're going to add those into the next show, and it's going to force Jeremy and I to really think through some of these problems, because a lot of times when you read them on paper, it's easy, but when you have to start applying those in real life, you realize that there's a lot more to learn going through those things. But then the more you use these tactics, the more people actually look up to you and rely on you to make decisions going forward. And that's one of the things that I've learned. Every time I feel like I've got it figured out, I don't have it figured out, and there's something more to learn. But then the more I push myself to be a leader within my school and my district, the more people have relied on me, and I absolutely love that feeling, and I love being able to help our administration, our students, and the people I work with. The last surprise we have is on Tuesday, October 29th at 9:30 a.m. That's our final show for this series. We're going to move on from the book leaders, and I am going to read a children's book. I'm actually really, really excited to finish the series with this book. This book found me during the summer, and I just knew I had to have it in here. So we are going to put this together. We're going to read the book, and then how can we pull leadership tactics out of a book that's meant for children. That's one of my favorite parts of this series. I've already got that one written up, and I'm ready to go for that. So we're going to get through 5 really, really good episodes and end on a high note with a children's book.
All right. So for me, a lot of this is really good because there's been some issues going on with the podcast and the school and then the creating the business. And so it's a matter of me taking ownership of saying, hey, I messed up. What do I need to do to fix it? Let's make this right. And so some things are going to have to change. And again, just being reminded of the process of the things that I need to do to ensure that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm leading the right way, that this continues to make a difference in my practice as an athletic trainer, in my school, in my community, in my state, and in my country. You know, like I said, I've been hearing from a lot of people through messages or whatever it is, just about the impact of the podcast and, you know, just the relationships. And someone was telling me just the other day, like, that I don't even realize how well known the podcast is, and it's pretty cool to think about that because I don't, I just know from the people that I hear from, but it's really cool to think that there are lots of people. Even somebody that I saw today, they joined Innovate AT, and they said, "Thanks, Jeremy. I wouldn't have joined this group if it wasn't for you." I'm like, "Oh well, I'd never heard from you before. I didn't know that you listened and that kind of thing." And so it's just a really cool thing to see that grow. But for me to know that I need to step back and do things well, and some of those things that in our meeting, like we talked about last year, you got to communicate really well. I'm not very good at communicating. I do my own thing. I don't need to bother you. You don't need to bother me. We're good. Let's just go for it. But that's created issues, and now it's created problems because I didn't communicate. And so I'm excited about kind of going back over what we learned and then kind of continuing to learn and grow and move and try to do things correctly moving forward. So
Yeah, I think when I think back to at the end of the month last year, as soon as we wrapped that last show, you said, "All right, I have to start putting together the next one for next year." And I took a big gulp, and I was like, "All right, well, I guess we do," And then it was really reaffirmed when you and I got to Orlando to be with the MLS, and they had heard the show, and a lot of those guys had, a lot of those people had listened to the series, and then again when we got to Vegas, and we got to meet a lot of the people who listened to your show religiously or have listened to the series, it was really reaffirming as to what we're doing and what I'm doing in my personal life. Because there are a lot of times it's doing these and applying a lot of these tactics is very taxing. It's exhausting, but it's very, very rewarding. And I really took that from Vegas, and I was so excited after we left Vegas. The day I broadcasted that whole day, I didn't leave the convention center. I didn't make it back to the hotel room until like 10 o'clock that night, because the people that we were running into and having conversations, it just made me really excited to get this one going again. I think I dragged a little bit, and then once I met people and got to hang out and really talk, and it's been life changing for me to know that I have an impact on other athletic trainers and to help them with their practice. So it's been awesome to have phone calls come through, and it excites me that I'm going to learn a lot more this coming month, and then the following year as we put these tactics into place on our day-to-day life. I'm really excited about that.
So Red Guinness checking in live as well. I appreciate it. Again, if you got comments, throw them in here. We'll compile those. John said he spent about 48 hours researching Facebook for leadership questions and things like that. But ask your questions, comments. We'll work those in throughout the series as best we can. Again, we'll come back to the same post. But oh man, I was gonna say something that was gonna be really good, but I forgot. What was it talking about?
Questions?
I know. Well, I was talking about something different. I was thinking of something different I was gonna say, but that's okay. I wasn't that good, I guess. But so I'm excited. Like you said, we're planning on going back to the PSATs, and I know that Patrick O'Haver was a huge fan of the series that you did last time, and he's been helping out do show notes and take notes and things like that. And again, just kind of taking what you've said and, hey, how can I help? How can I be a part of this? And it's a great thing there as well. So, all right, what else you got?
That's all I got. I think I'm really excited for this coming month. I'm really excited to share this book with everybody. I know I read a lot, and even when you and I were in Orlando and I picked up that book, Leadership in Turbulent Times, it looks after different presidents throughout different parts of their presidency. I really wanted to include that one, but I felt this was going to be the book for us this year and this time around. So it's an easy read. It's a longer book. I know one of my interns, this book has been traveling with me, and it sits on my desk, and I flip it open, I take notes. And Jeremy, you've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of year when I was at roll call, Jocko even commented on my extreme ownership, the amount of tabs that I have. I basically have every page tabbed. I don't know why. Something I couldn't get rid of from college. I used to just highlight everything that's in the book. It's important. But, I think this book is going to be really good for everybody, and it's really going to help us this year.
All right, cool. Any other just fun, exciting stories? Maybe somebody you met you want to give a shout out to, something like that. Obviously, it was great in Las Vegas, and I'm looking forward to hanging out there in Orlando when we get to do that again, and just kind of continuing to grow what we do. But any special shout outs you got?
Yeah, everybody that's listening. We had a lot of people come up to us and just say hi and want to take pictures, and that was weird to me actually. So, but it's been helpful to know that people are out there listening. I know Rick out in Boston and Patrick, they were big fans of the show and the series. So hopefully they're tagging along this time and applying some of the things that we talked about to their daily practices.
All right. Well, it's Wednesday will be the next one, and then we'll just keep going from there. So again, questions, comments, leave them in the comments there. Message me, message John, email us, tweet us, Facebook, whatever it is. Just get a hold of us. Let us know your questions, your comments, your thoughts, your concerns, your stories. I know, whenever I was kind of first going through my struggles at the beginning of the year with the leadership, I had sent out an email to the email list and saying, hey, this is what I'm going through. And several people replied back and said, here's what I've done. Keep doing it. Things can get better. And some people shared their stories. And Kelly, your coworker, more or less, in the same, was it county district?
Same
County, there you go.
down the road from each other.
Yeah. So she shared her story, and things like that make me realize, okay, wait a minute. There's people going through a lot of different stuff, whereas, my situation isn't quite as good or the same as it was, but maybe that's because things needed to change. Maybe I needed to change. Maybe it was because of my lack of communication that led to this. And so I'll share some of her story and some of the other ones that I got via email, and just the encouragement from you guys as well. So,
Yeah, can't wait to hear that.
so all right, John. Well, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Absolutely. We'll see everybody on Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
Yes, sir.